Are we on now?
We are.
We're on now. That's
Ready
it.
to go.
That's it, we're on. Good morning and welcome to Ireland AM on Virgin Media 1.
It is Wednesday, the 30th of October. It's lovely to have you with us today. And here's some of what's coming up on today's show.
A new survey shows that half of all children in Ireland get pocket money, with almost 9 out of 10 parents believing that children should earn it by doing chores. That's what they believe. Let us know what you believe. Do you think your kids pocket money? Do you give your kids pocket money on a regular basis? How old were they when you started giving them an allowance, and do they work for it? 0896 111 111. On the face of it in our house,
They do the jobs.
Yeah, they do the jobs. No, the thing is, they still get the money, but they rarely do the jobs.
Do they get the money into the hand or into a Revolut? Or
Revolut.
Into an account? Revolut.
The under 18s Revolut, and they're obsessed with it.
Oh my God.
They're a little pair of crypto bros.
Did the dishes the other day, got a tenner off my mum. It was great.
Yeah,
Never ends.
They've got the app on their
Never
iPads
ends, guys.
constantly.
We'd love to hear from you today. 0896 111 111. We have sent our movie man Brian Lloyd. He's going to the premiere of Cillian Murphy's brand new film, Small Things Like These. He was at it last night. We're going to be finding out what Cillian and the rest of the cast had to say a little bit later on.
And the brilliant Rory Stories brings us his top parenting tips for how to survive a life spent knee-deep in nappies and tackling tantrums. I can get some tips on the tantrums.
Don't be talking about the nappy at this hour of the morning. Stop it. Alan, what else is coming up today?
Well, there's plenty on the way this morning. It is the spookiest week of the year, and we've got a plate of pumpkin pasta in the kitchen.
Ooh.
Plus, we're cleansing our energies and aligning our auras with resident witch. Yes, she is a witch. Phoebe Foran. She's going to be showing us how to make incense from things you might find in your garden. Now, Deric's also getting into the spooky spirit this morning. How are you getting on, Deric?
Yeah, we're getting into the Halloween spirit of things here this morning. Now, guys, we put out the call on social media late last week to find the most decorated house in the country. And in fact, that's what's brought us here to Donabate in North County Dublin. Just over our shoulder here, this is the Dignan family home. Ma'am is Anne, and she has gone absolutely gaga on Halloween. So we're going to be taking you on that tour inside the home a little bit later on this morning. So you won't want to miss it. Back to studio.
Oh,
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media 1.
Míle Cléna with Tommy Bjorn Shaw live here from Donabate in North County Dublin. We've actually landed here at the Dignan family home. They've gone gaga on Halloween, so we're going to be catching up with Anne and some of the family here a little bit later on this morning. Take you on a tour inside the haunted house itself. So that's all coming your way live at 8:45. So do stay with us for that. Now, Gary Coulton with us at cameras this morning. So let's take an opening look at how it's shaping up for Halloween Eve. And out there this morning now, just beginning to brighten up. Elsewhere, good cloud cover now across the island with some light showers there through parts of South Dublin into North County Wicklow in those nights southwesterly or variable breezes. Now right across today, unfortunately not much in the way of sunshine, but the good news is that it is holding dry across the island out there today. A good day of cloud cover with some limited bright breaks now as we push our way through your Wednesday. Tallaght is holding mild and steady at 13 to 16 degrees, and then into tonight again cloudy for most parts. We will see it clear out here and there. That'll leave some patchy mist, little taste of fog as well, but elsewhere again holding dry as we push our way into Thursday with overnight lows there back to around 7 to 11 degrees with some western and northwestern light showers. Anyway, that's how we're shaping up for now. Behemi Bjor Risha Lahore Treasure Shocked. Good day, Sin. Slán.
You need to be chilled to handle Irish weather. That's why Chill sponsor weather updates on Virgin Media 1.
Now, coming up, Ireland needs almost 80,000 more construction workers to address a deficit in vital infrastructure. That's according to a new report from the Fiscal Council.
Also, Irish electricity prices are now the second highest in the EU.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Welcome to Ireland, and we've great news, and we've lots more stories after this break.
We do.
See you in a few minutes.
Welcome back. Time to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Examiner. The headline there, climate change may cause lower life expectancy. Children born in Ireland today and their peers around the world face malnutrition, a shorter life expectancy and other health hazards caused by climate change. A major global health report has warned.
Wow. The Herald goes with primary school shut as children targeted in city feud. A Dublin primary school had to close last week and send all of its pupils home over a serious security alert which saw threats made against 2 young children.
The Daily Mail says council scrambled to halt housing for 1,000 migrants. Last-ditch efforts are being made to block a large-scale centre for asylum seekers in Athlone following hours of intense talks last night.
The Star leads with confessions of a killer. It says that Gardaí investigating the murder of Sophie Toscan de Plentier have seized an unedited recording of the Star's podcast with interviews with murder suspect Ian Bailey amid suspicion over comments that he made in it.
The Sun leads with Maura, my reality TV hell. Maura Higgins has admitted having very dark thoughts after leaving Love Island.
The Mirror also goes with Maura's Love Island torment.
The front of the Irish Times reads extra 80,000 workers needed for housing. So almost 80,000 additional workers are potentially needed to address Ireland's infrastructure deficits. That's according to a new report from the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council.
And finally, the Irish Independent also states we need 80,000 more workers to fix roads, homes and power Ireland's infrastructure. It's reckoned to be lower than the average for the high-income European countries.
Now, joining us with that and everything else this morning is Sinead O'Carroll from thejournal.ie and Andrea Gilligan from News Talk. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let's talk about this. 80,000 more construction workers needed, Sinead.
It's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're about 25% lower than what we should be really in terms of productivity in sectors, in infrastructure sectors. So this is kind of across everything. We obviously know that we're not fast enough at building houses. People will know infrastructure projects are slow. IFAC has said there's things that we need to address this. The planning system is so cumbersome and slow. That's one thing. But also we just don't have enough productivity in terms of the workers we have. So they said it's 80,000 if we go at current productivity levels. But if we got more productive, that could be slashed to 20,000 workers.
So what's that saying about us, the people who are working in this industry?
I'm just about to say.
They're working very slowly.
So, like, from 80,000, we might only need 20,000 if productivity improved.
But it's not the individual worker.
No, and I can imagine like everybody working in the construction sector this morning, maybe watching this if they're having a coffee before they start. I'm sure they're on site at this stage.
I was just about to say, if you are watching, what do you make of this? You're not doing it quick enough. 0896 111 111.
I suppose the idea is that it's to do with delays with the planning process, that is a big contributory factor. And the other element to this as well is that we actually don't have very large residential construction firms. They talk about the fact, like the Site 2 companies in particular, as being Cairns and Glenveigh as being two of the larger, builder developers that we have in this country. I suppose an awful lot of the residential property that we see being built across the island tends to be built by, I suppose, smaller scale firms. And then I suppose a lot of that is to do with their ability to even, to be able to incorporate new levels of technology as well. But
Ireland has been slow to use modern construction methods, even though they require at least 70% less labour and reduce costs by an estimated 20 to 40%.
But small firms can't obviously invest in technology, so you need large firms to do that. And we just don't have those large firms.
And jobs. We want to have
What's
jobs
interesting about this, though, like when they had issues with the numbers in the construction sector back 2 decades ago in Australia, they opened up an open visa competition and they said, hey, listen, whatever part of the world you're in, we need you, particularly if you're in construction, if you're in nursing, if you're in, 2 or 3 other different professions. And they attracted people over to the country to work there. And I wonder, is that something that we are going to have to start looking at now? Because
we don't have a house for them to live in.
Well, that's the other side of it too.
But open up the borders, get them all in. There's nowhere to live.
Australia actually have just done a very big recruitment drive over the last year in Ireland.
Yeah, but they've always been doing it. And it's something I suppose we haven't done anywhere near to the same level. But like 80,000 workers is a huge amount.
And 79,000 of them are on the Children's Hospital, isn't it?
And
that's where they all are.
And we're at full employment. So there is a tension there that we do need to figure out while also figuring out how to construct quickly. But that's the idea of these. Like we heard recently about how expensive the modular homes have been to construct. Like the cost of them and the the speed of when they should be built should be increasing, but these productivity and construction worker shortages are obviously having a big impact.
We'd love to hear from you if you work in the construction industry. As Sinead said, you're gone to work, you're not watching, but you never know. 0896 111 111. Where are we falling down? What's going on? And are we not attracting enough workers in that? Now, we've got something else that's good news this morning.
Great news. Ireland, the most expensive net electricity prices in the EU. We sort of knew this anyway. This is a story that's been drumbling on for years.
Completely. Anyone who's looking at their electricity bill over the past 3 or 4 years is saying, why on earth is it so high? Well, it is, and in actual fact, it's the highest across Europe, according to this Eurostat survey that's out today. So when you look at the net electricity, so this is the price of the domestic electricity that we get into our home before the taxes have been included, we have the most expensive across the EU. Like, typically, the Irish EU electricity bill, Alan, is about €500 higher than the rest of Europe. We're only beaten by Germany when it comes to this.
Do we know why?
It's because of the fact that we have, a relatively small and dispersed population. We've also had a huge boost to our population figures in recent times as well. That's putting huge pressure on the grid, as too are the data centres. That's the other reality. Of all of this.
Yeah, so we can't use the cheaper electricity methods like hydro, and obviously we don't use nuclear. So we're kind of relying on a lot of it, about 40% on gas, which is more expensive. So it's that, because actually our taxes are cheaper than the average, which is,
our VAT's 9%.
The narrative, our VAT is 9%, and it's 20% in most other European countries.
Yes, so, because when it works out that the actual bill, it's not as bad as other European countries because they put higher VAT rates and taxes on
our VAT. Behind Germany.
I know, for the actual unit rate.
No, when the VAT is put on.
Yeah.
We're only second. Germany put on their 20% VAT, and that makes us second, but otherwise we're first.
Yeah, we're the highest at net value.
Yeah. So that's it. And there have been, listen, it's a thing in this country that everything is more expensive.
Well, it goes back to the infrastructure thing. Like, we do know that, like, we need to put a lot of money, and like hopefully some of the Apple billions will go into that. But we do need to put money into our grid, and there are plans in place to be connected to the French grid, which should, make a difference by 2027. But that we do need to do a lot in this country as well to kind of make sure that we are generating cheaper electricity and also obviously better for the environment.
And people will see their energy credits. When is the first energy credit dropping? Is it this month?
It was announced in the budget. It's less than last year.
Yeah.
I would need to just clarify that, but I think it is from the December bill, isn't it? It's usually
there is one this side.
There is one on the other side,
yeah.
So we are going to see something in that anyway.
Yeah, how are your bills? 0896 111 111. One thing in your house that does cost an awful lot of money is if you have a child. And now you've got to pay them as well.
Pocket money.
Kids cost you money, and you have to give them pocket money.
And you want to give them what's this about? What's going on?
So there was a survey done by the teachers of Ireland's credit union to see in what way people gave their kids pocket money. And I don't know if this is surprising. You kind of know that so many people use Revolut, so digital wallets. So 60% of parents are sending their pocket money to their kids through Revolut. Yeah.
So they never have that touch of cash. They never exchange money. I have heard my friends' kids being like, just tap it, mummy, and don't kind of get...
I think that's sad. I think the value of money
is gone.
Diminishes when that happens.
The other thing in this as well, though, is 90% of parents believe that the pocket money should be earned, that you should get money for doing chores, and we were chatting about this.
That's great, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great what they believe, but whether they do it. Here we go. There's a poll for you today. If you just want to take your phone, scan that QR code on your camera. Do you give your child pocket money for doing chores? That's what we're asking. For doing jobs around the house. Chores is an awful old word, isn't it?
I asked my 2-year-old yesterday to bring her plate from the dinner table to the kitchen sink, and she had a meltdown. I don't want to do that.
But she'd literally be like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that.
Is this because it was the first time you've asked her, so it was like sort of out of the norm?
It was just new to her, yeah. Great at tidying up in creche, I've heard.
Oh, but at home.
Oh, not at home.
But I should have offered her a coin. I should have said you can get a coin for doing it.
But what are you going to, in your house, as, you've got a kid, will you expect her to do jobs in order to get pocket money?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And will you do
She might
cash?
even get the pocket money. She just has to do jobs.
But are you in favour of this, like, going down the Revolut method, or do you think actually when they're holding some coins and cash, it's more value to them because they get a sense
she's only two,
of it?
but she does enjoy having coins and, you know, paying the man and getting the receipt in the shop.
Love that.
She does enjoy doing that
That's
exchange. Yeah. Get her banana, get her...
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you on that. I love that. Get me banana, get me receipt. 0896
Thanks so much.
111. Ray, do the kids do jobs? No. Okay.
Ray
They get
gives
pocket money.
Ray €10 each.
Yes.
€10 each, which I
€10
think is a good. Well, how much do you actually then do you give your children? Ray gives his children €10.
Nothing. I'm only asking him for a house. Fine. Now we're going to move on to the most popular wedding song.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
What was your wedding song?
Here it is. Hold on.
Oh,
Let's hear.
are we playing?
I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody.
And now I'm married.
Congratulations. That's done.
Whitney Houston. It was so simple. Oh my God. Whitney Houston, I want to dance with somebody.
So this is for the first dance
Yeah, because
song?
I would have thought,
Yeah.
I heard it went, I will always love you.
Yeah.
I've never heard
I
that
went to the
ever
woman who was
played.
married going,
I will
is this
always
for
love
the...
you.
Never as a first dance song for a wedding, or I want to dance with somebody.
You've never heard that?
Not as a first dance song at a wedding,
See,
ever.
it's not an Irish poll, you see.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
an
that's
American
It's not
or
an
New
Irish
York
poll.
What was your first dance song?
We did Kiss Me, Sixpence None the Richer.
Oh, such a 90s
Yeah.
girl.
Sung by Mary Kate Garrity from Fight Like It. So we were very lucky.
What was yours?
God, I can't remember.
Oh, come on. You've had that many weddings. Yourself and Carl are always having a celebration.
Seriously, I
Did you
can't
have a
remember.
first dance?
So, I don't think we did have a first dance, actually, no.
0896 111. We would love to hear your first dance song because we're going to ask our producer to just play songs throughout
All
the morning.
morning, yeah,
It would be
it'd be
so
great.
good. Guys, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Leonard
much.
Carl and Andrea Gilligan, thank
Thanks,
you
guys.
so much. A pleasure being here. Now, coming up, we've got more on the rest of the day's top story.
Yes, we'll also be catching up with sports star Stephanie Sambra for her thoughts on Ireland win against Georgia last night. See you after the break.
Welcome back. Now, the conflict in the Middle East continues following multiple Israeli attacks on Lebanon and the passing of a bill to ban UN aid agency UNRWA from operating within Gaza.
With us in studio to discuss the latest developments is diplomatic scholar at Oxford University, Dr. Jennifer Cassidy. And joining us live from Beirut is journalist Gareth Brown. Good morning to you both, and thank you both for joining us this morning. Jennifer, we'll begin with you. And a lot of people, UNRWA, we're hearing a lot about UNRWA, and the notion that a lot of us might have in terms of Israel saying that within 90 days they're not going to allow UNRWA to conduct their operations in Gaza and provide their services to the Palestinian people. A lot of us would think it's just another charity. It might be like UNICEF or Goal or Trócaire or something. They're just shutting them down. They're saying they won't be able to operate, but the others might. But UNRWA do an awful lot more than what we might realise.
To say the least, this is not an organisation, I don't want to say simply like UNICEF or other organisations. UNRWA is, the name for it is the United Nations Relief and Work Agency. It was created in 1949 by a UN mandate, which is very, very important, by the UN mandate, in order to help the 700,000 Palestinians that were removed due to the creation of the State of Israel. So they've been around for 6 decades. Now, to say they are not only an essential fabric, but they are the fabric of Palestinian society, particularly in Gaza and the occupied territory. To say that is an understatement. I myself, when I lived in Ramallah, have worked with them and many around them. So, for example, they help 6 million Palestinian refugees. They have 535,000 children in their schools. There's 130 health services that they have. There's 33,000 staff employed by UNRWA, and these are Palestinian workers. So to remove the only governance and infrastructure that Gaza in particular has at this time is to remove the only lifeline they have.
So this was done, 2 bills were passed inside in the Israeli Congress, and they have said that they have been used by Hamas, that is an operation whereby terrorists can run their things through. They've been found in schools. Yeah. Is this true?
Yeah, so the second bill, again, both bills were greeted by an overwhelming majority, which points to, you know, the heart of what the Knesset truly thinks and the direction it's not only has gone but is going.
Yeah, the Knesset, the parliament in Israel. Yeah.
Yes, and the exact words in the bill were that this was a terrorist group and they wanted to sever diplomatic relations. Now, that's very important, that wording here of diplomatic relations. They're recognising by using that wording that UNRWA is a UN organisation, that this is a diplomatic body helping this. So terrorist organisation and linking it to a diplomatic body, that is a severe claim. And just to regarding the debunking of these claims, yes, they have put that through. They have been saying this, you know, not just since the past October, for numerous decades now. But as they always say, if this was true, the IDF, Israel, Netanyahu and his cabinet, we would have this information everywhere and anywhere. It would be publicised on every single, particularly US outlet, but they have not been in conjunction or liaising with any even internal or external investigations
where they could prove that they've been infiltrated.
And I will say, UNRWA, when these accusations are made, they do take them very seriously. We saw a number of months ago they fired 9 staff, but they were re-implemented. But they are doing really intense investigations. They don't just
hear this and say it's not true. They're actually investigating to see if there's anything there.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are.
Now, Gareth, the conflict has spread further than Israel and Gaza. The Lebanese Health Ministry now said that at least 60 people have been killed in Israeli attacks on Lebanon's eastern Bekaa Valley that took place overnight. You're in Beirut. Gareth, thanks so much for joining us. How are things there at the moment?
I mean, Beirut itself has this kind of relative air of normality, of calm. And I think that is not something that's just the case now, but it's always been the case. You know, Beirut is no stranger to conflict, to violence over recent decades. But I think the moment you sort of leave the city, if you head into the southern suburbs, to the Bekaa Valley in the east, which borders Syria, and especially the south, the war is deepening, it's broadening, it's intensifying. You know, we've seen a lot of Israeli airstrikes on the Bekaa Valley where you mentioned. Yesterday we had strikes on the southern city of Saida. We've seen strikes on Christian villages in the north. I think the overwhelming sort of read on this is that this is no longer a war that's just limited to the southern border. This is not just about the IDF going into these villages along the border in South Lebanon, but really it's a war that is taking place and unfolding across the country.
And Gareth, I'm just wondering, like, in relation to what it is that the people of Lebanon want. Obviously, we have seen people fleeing from the south of the country. They have been told to flee. But obviously, this is moving further north. And we saw that Iran have been brought into the conflict. Indeed, they did strike earlier this month on Israel. So what is the feeling there from the people of Lebanon of what they want to see happening? Do you think this is going to escalate even further?
I think overwhelmingly the feeling here is that things are going to get worse before they get better. Had you asked me that question, you know, a few months ago, probably before the pager attacks, before that assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, I think there was probably a complacency in Lebanon. People genuinely believed that Israel didn't want an all-out war with Hezbollah, and now that is exactly what is happening. And you know, it's all well and good telling people to flee the south. You know, the IDF puts out these very kind of short notice warnings. You need to leave X, Y, Z city in the south of Lebanon. But I think increasingly what we're seeing is the Israelis actually hitting places where people have fled to, you know, Christian villages in the north, other parts of Beirut, which are housing, you know, the over 1 million displaced people. And I think that's something that mirrors the conflict in Gaza. You know, it's not just people fleeing once to a safe location. Actually, people are fleeing to a location which then is being hit by airstrikes, perhaps a second, third, fourth time. It's a kind of endless cycle of displacement and violence.
I think we're all like here. We're debating the occupied territories bill and whether that should be put before the Dáil before we go to the polls for the general election. And we're seeing people openly, Israeli settlers, saying they want to settle Gaza. That they want to see. We're seeing it on our screens every single day. They're just saying it now. We want them all gone. We're going to settle Gaza. This is going to be our new home. Sounds very like Lebensraum in the 1930s in Germany. But what's going on here? We've got an election happening in the US. They're saying, oh, don't do it, but they're still arming Israel, right?
So even if we're looking at UNRWA, to tie it back to this, the reactions of the quote-unquote major powers, I'm talking about the permanent members on the Security Council, the US said they were quote-unquote deeply concerned. The UK said it was of grave concern regarding UNRWA's removal, and Germany said it was of concern. And they also came together to make a statement saying that this is very damaging to Israel's reputation. So it is highly, highly concerning that they are more concerned about Israel's reputation rather than the survival of the Palestinian people and the people in Lebanon and the citizens. And as Mary Robinson pointed out in her statement as chairman of the Elders yesterday, that the UN Charter and the UN itself is now under attack. And the other news is that the UN Secretary General is now banned from entering Israel. So
Antonio Guterres.
Yes, he is now banned from entering Israel. So the removal of funding of UNRWA is not only a violation of international law, but the refusal of these permanent 5 members to back the United Nations, on which it was built by the remnants of World War II for peace and security and against genocide and ethnic cleansing. You know, we're seeing, as a diplomatic scholar, I would say, we're seeing the very death of the diplomacy, and we need complete new leadership. You know, if I had a straight answer to what could happen now.
Well, all eyes are on the American election now. I mean, it would have been, depending on which way that goes, I guess Netanyahu's gambling based on how the outcome of that's going to go in terms of whether he's going to have allies in the White House or not.
Yeah,
and then we could see.
I don't think we're ever going to see a true narrative by either party at the moment, because if they do give a true narrative, their funding will be
And important to say, 233 UNRWA workers, UN workers, have been murdered in this conflict. Jennifer Cassidy, diplomatic scholar at Oxford University, and Gareth Brown, who is a journalist in Beirut. Thank you both so much for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. Thanks a million. Thanks a million. Lots more to come on Ireland AM.
We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Our next guest is one of our soccer trailblazers and has recently decided to hang up her boots.
She is. She's one of our soccer trailblazers.
She is one of our soccer trailblazers.
She's over there soccering and blazing trails over there. Here to talk retirement. Talking retirement and career highlights. It's Stephanie Zambra. Stephanie Roach, Stephanie Zambra. You're a bit of both still. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Lovely to see you. Thanks for getting up so early to talk to us.
Because you were obviously working last night at the match, the playoff, Ireland taking on Georgia. Oh my God, over 2 legs.
Yeah.
Goals aplenty. We're through.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Great performance. I think very professional performance from the girls. And obviously, I think going into the Georgia games, we've beaten them previously. I think it was 9-0 and 11-0. So I expected goals. I predicted goals in the first game, and it took a while for them to come. So I was glad over the 2 legs we got a few.
Does it get a bit? Because obviously we went in on aggregate 6-0, to the match last night, and another 3 goals. It still does, regardless of the opponents. It is squeaky bum time. There's Julianne Russell last night. What a game she had.
Yeah, she was brilliant. And I think I'm delighted for Julie to see her coming back into the fold after being out for a while, and obviously having Rosie too along the way. So she's a brilliant ambassador for the sport and a great athlete, and has always been that type of player. So I'm delighted to see her getting back involved and doing so well.
She's flying it. Tallaght Stadium was full, was it?
Yeah, great atmosphere. It's great to see the girls getting that support, and we talked about it on air last night in terms of how much has progressed over the years. It's brilliant to see it, and long may it continue. It'd be great to see more in the Aviva now for the playoff
It would
game.
be amazing to see that happen, because they've gotten this. Okay, Georgia were easier opponents in the playoffs for the championships, and now they go ahead. We found out last night, just after the game finished, that they're going to be playing Wales.
Yeah. Wales, who beat them recently as well. So a little bit of that. And I think, in fairness, Wales came into that game previously having just got a new manager, so maybe caught us on the hop a little bit. So I think there'll be a little bit of revenge wanted by a lot of the girls. A lot of the girls would know the players, from the Welsh team very well too. So it'll be an interesting game. I think they're very similar to us.
Like a lot of them play together.
Yeah.
Like that was it. They were talking last night and they were just like, oh, sure, I'll have to send her a text now and all this kind of stuff. So there is an element of knowing each other very well, but both a lot to prove. Like, you know, it's getting to the championships. That's the most important thing.
Look, I think having got to the World Cup before, we can see what has happened for women's football here in Ireland since then. So to get to the Euros would be brilliant for the girls. And be 2 tough games, a lot tougher than what we played against Georgia, but still, I think where Ireland are at, I'll expect them to win, and maybe hopefully everybody else will be able to see them get that win over the line.
She said it now.
Yeah,
she said it now.
Well, you're putting your name on the line. When you say about the progression of the game, and we've referenced you as a trailblazer a couple of minutes ago, and seeing Tallaght Stadium full and our expectations for the Aviva, you were there in 2017 for that press conference where you were calling out the authorities and saying we need better standards, we need to be looked after better.
Look, I think it was something that we as players at the time, I think the likes of Emma Byrne is obviously involved in the first team now, Anya O'Gorman, and the PFAI were brilliant for us then as well. They just kind of helped us through in knowing what to do, and I think it was a stage where we felt it was nearly now or never that we would make a stand and try to get better treatment for the girls. And I think you can see how much they've kicked on since then. I think it's been brilliant to see the backing that the FAI have given us. And it's great to see the girls being able to reap the benefits. And for younger girls coming through now to see that there actually are opportunities within football, whether to be professional here in Ireland or to be able to go abroad and to go into your Ireland's setups and not be out of pocket for playing football for your country. So it's brilliant to see the changes.
Yeah. I can only imagine, like, just that bit of equality. And we know that a lot of the lads did band together and we're like, no, sorry lads, this isn't right, we need to make sure that the women are getting the standard as well.
It was brilliant to have the back, and I think all of us when we went into that strike in 2017 we're a little bit nervous about how it might come down, but it was great to get the support from everybody around us.
You could also just not done it. Do you know what I mean? We could be here all these years later and nothing could have changed.
And the fact that you did.
I think we all knew, as I said, at that stage that we had the quality of players. It was just, and again, I know we hear so much about equal pay, but for us it was about equal treatments and equal opportunity and just being given the same backing that the men's team were getting. And I think you can see, as I said, the benefits that have come from getting that backing.
And it's amazing because an awful lot of, you know, the household names, you know, there would be Katie McCabe, who plays for an Arsenal, and we see her on Sky Sports at the weekend. But there's also Julianne Russell, who we just mentioned. She's playing for Galway. Like, she's at home. She's in a league in Ireland. Is it important that they are kind of looking at those, but it doesn't just have to be the superstars, because, you know, Julie's got a lot going on. You know, she had the baby, all that kind of stuff. It is amazing that the management are going, OK, we need to look at everything. Well,
I think the league here in Ireland has improved. Obviously, I've come back to play here my last few seasons back with Rovers. And Peamount before that, and it's great to see the league and players getting that recognition. I think there's been so many players have come through this league, and I think there's still some very good players within the league that should be looked at too. So it's brilliant to see.
I suppose you've obviously worked under Vera Pauw when she was there, and you've worked with Eileen Gleeson, who's our current manager, and there was an awful lot of, you know, controversy in relation to what was going on with management in the Irish team. What do you make of it and what Eileen's done?
Very different styles of managers, very different approaches. Obviously, I had Eileen at Peamount before that, so I have a lot of respect for Eileen and what she's done. And I think, again, going back to what we spoke about the league and players getting opportunities, I think she's one manager that definitely is passionate about the League of Ireland, which I think is important for the progression of women's football. But just two different styles of managers. I think it's important to respect what Vera done for the team. I think she helped us get to a World Cup, our very first tournament, so she deserves that recognition. But I think, as I said, just two different styles of managers. And
what's the difference in the styles?
Oh God, you're testing me here now. Look, obviously for myself, I didn't really feature under Vera, you know, so I had opportunities here and there, but I really felt I never really got a proper opportunity to show what I could do and to be part of the squad, particularly having played for Ireland for 15 to 20 years, you know, to be kind of not given that opportunity was disappointing for me. But again, I had to look at what she was doing. She felt she had the right squad around her, and she went with it, and they qualified for a World Cup. So for me, on a personal level, as I said, I respect her as a manager, but it's somebody that I didn't get the feature under. So it's kind of a disappointing thing for me overall.
Yeah,
I can only imagine that it
is.
is.
You for saying it
and you have retired. Like, you retired. Your international boots, all the boots are set up. You've set up a coaching. Are you setting up a coaching camp?
Yeah. So it's obviously something that I knew was coming down the line. You know, in terms of retirement, it's not something as an athlete you want to think about.
No.
But myself and Dean had put our heads together about 6 years ago. We started up a coaching company. Now Dean works full time as well, so he has to give up a lot of time in the evenings and after work and stuff in terms of doing all of the admin, because I do none of that.
Good woman.
But yeah, we're on the. We're in the schools, we're doing coaching camps, and we just set up a girls in sports programme for for young teenage girls in secondary school to try and combat the girls in sport, girls dropping out of sport.
Yeah.
So it's gone so well, I have to say. Like, it was something that we tried out at the end of last year, and we've continued with Rockford Manor this year. So it's something that we're looking to try and bring into other schools and just try to help fight that combat and keeping girls in sports. I think it's fantastic.
Particularly with girls. Yeah, the drop that like 13, 14 is the most
dropout rate. Yes. And keeping them in, we know it's better for mental health and for physical health. It's called Champions Coaching. Can you imagine going into school and Stephanie's bloody coaching? You'd be like, all right, this is going to be great fun. It's amazing. So lovely to see you. Congratulations on the retirement. You're not chill, are you? No, she's not. No, she's working like a lunatic.
You're a fabulous retiree, in fairness.
Yeah,
fabulous retiree.
I was told last night by a young kid in the audience that I'm very young to be retiring, so I was happy to hear that. It was nice to hear.
I'll take it. Stephanie Zambert, thanks for joining us this morning.
So
Cheers.
Lovely to see you.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to beat Wales. That's what she says. We'll be back with you on Ireland AM in just a minute. Now it's time to take a look at this morning's papers. We're starting with the Examiner. The headline there, climate change may cause lower life expectancy. Children born today and their peers around the world face malnutrition, a shorter life expectancy and other health hazards caused by climate change, a major global health report has warned.
The Herald goes with primary school shut as children targeted in city feud. A Dublin primary school had to close last week and send all of its pupils home over a serious security alert which saw threats made against 2 young children.
The top story in the Daily Mail says councils scramble to halt housing for 1,000 migrants. Last-ditch efforts are being made to block a large-scale asylum centre for asylum seekers in Athlone. This follows hours of intense talks last night, according to the Mail.
The Star leads with confessions of a killer. It says that Gardaí investigating the murder of Sophie Toscan de Plantier have seized an unedited recording of the Star's podcast interview with murder suspect Ian Bailey amid suspicion over comments he made in the podcast.
Now, the Sun goes with something completely different. It says, Maura, my reality TV hell. Maura Higgins has admitted having, quote, very dark thoughts. And this was after leaving Love Island.
The Mirror also goes with Maura's Love Island torment.
Now, the front page of the Irish Times says extra 80,000 workers needed for housing. So the additional workers are potentially needed to address Ireland's infrastructure deficits. This is according to a new report from the Irish Fiscal Advisory Council.
And finally, the Irish Independent also states we need 80,000 more workers to fix roads, homes and power. Ireland's infrastructure is reckoned to be lower than average for a high-income European country. Yeah, we've all this building to do. We need someone to build it.
Yeah,
we certainly do.
And that's what we were discussing earlier on, and we're getting lots of texts on it. So Ireland needs 80,000 more construction workers, says the report. But if productivity increased, we'd only need 20,000.
I don't know what they're comparing
we were sort
to.
of saying, yeah, like, so does that
it
mean that everybody's lazy? And it's not. It's down to a lot of planning and the bad planning and different things like that. So it's not down to the individual's productivity. Well, maybe it is in some cases.
Also,
we don't
like
know.
bureaucracy and red tape, and just like if things could be green a little quicker, it would be...
It probably, get built. So they were saying
I was looking at
include.
quotes the other day of, like, you know, a renovation of 2 metres or whatever for someone, and the amount was eye-watering. Like, it was coming in, like, change a bathroom, a little bit of an extension, move a bathroom upstairs, and I think it was like 350 grand.
What?
Yeah, it was huge.
You'd buy a house for that.
Where?
You wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. What are you talking about?
And Richie says, well, all the construction workers from the boom time are now in their 50s and 60s. Everyone is slowing down.
You're working 4 times slower.
Go on, Richie.
Go on, Richie.
Fair play
we were here in the boom, lads.
Fair play to you. We did all the hard work already.
Declan, hi guys, just listening to your conversation on productivity planning, and red tape is the problem. Yeah, that's what we were just saying.
Yeah.
We've all the tools and machinery to build faster. I suppose that's the other thing as well in terms of developments, in terms of the technology involved in getting stuff done.
Yeah.
You should be able to move faster.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. 0896 111 111. What's your experience of building? But again, as we said, everyone's at work. All the construction workers are at work, or if you've got builders in. Now, pocket money. There's a report that says that parents are more likely to give children pocket money via a digital account rather than giving them cash.
Yes.
You're straight into there.
We have two forms. They have the under-18s Revolut, which they're obsessive with.
Yes.
They're like crypto bros, I was saying earlier on. They're in stocks, they're in crypto, they're in what are they made? You know, they made up crypto. I'm joking. Bitcoin. No, they're not. Just money. And of course, they can tap as well, you know, using the phone. They can use it. But we just transfer the money in. The other one then is Robux.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, for Roblox.
It's money they spend in the game in Roblox. And they have to earn that. I tell you, they're more... You know,
Alberto is shaking the head going, don't talk to me about Roblox.
Know about this.
No.
So they've to earn money to play the game,
it's
is it?
It's a digital in-game currency, yeah.
We were asking people, do you give your child pocket money for doing chores? Yes, 56%. No, says 44%. But I don't know if that 44% means that they're just giving them money for doing nothing.
Well, on the face of it, in our house, we think they're like, it's like, oh, we'll give you the money, but they still end up getting the money even if they don't do the jobs.
Yeah. What jobs would you give them?
Just loading the dishwasher.
Yes.
Taking out the rubbish, stuff like that.
I can see you being the sort of person, if you haven't done that right, I'll do it.
Oh no, that's the thing, and that's the problem in every house in the country. And my wife is the same. It's like I'll just do it myself, and that's the problem is that they're not learning, and they still get the money anyway.
Well, Muriel says I never gave them pocket money for free. They had to have helped with housework, or they had to do the babysitting in order to get their money. We'd love to know what you do with your children. Do they have to do a bit of work to get some money?
But isn't there a thing? I was looking at a video yesterday. One of these influencers was saying, no, the way to do it is don't give them pocket money for doing jobs in the house, because doing jobs in the house should just be done without any incentive.
Yes.
They should be taught that this needs to be done.
Yes, that is
good. This is just part of what you...
It should be just part of what they're growing up, that you
the
do your
dishwasher
little jobs.
needs to be loaded anyway.
You got to do it. 0896 111 111.
Yeah,
love to hear from you.
We were also talking about the first dance that you have your wedding, but we're going to get to that later on. But keep them coming in to let us know what was your first dance.
Have you remembered yours
yet? The song,
no.
The song of the first dance at your wedding.
You want to have a bop? Get your requests in. Alan's on DJ.
That's it.
Get your text in and on touch on 0896 111 111.
After the break, Rory Stories is going to be with us.
Yes, he's brought his trademark humour to the wonderful world of parenting. Lovely to chat to him after this break.
Now, our next guest is one of Ireland's most successful comedians, having amassed over 1.2 million followers across his social media platforms.
Joins us now to discuss his latest venture, which is a book. It is, of course, comedian Rory O'Connor. Hello, Rory.
How are you guys?
Lovely to have you. Rory Stories.
You,
before we get into it, let's take a look at some of his recent videos on the joys of parenting and preparing for a marathon. Two things that shouldn't go together.
Did you get another bad note in school today? Need I say any more? I said, need I say any more? Kids, you can't keep abusing your father and wrecking my house. We all need to go and regulate together. See, when I was your age on midterm, I'd clean out the dishwasher, hoover the stairs, change my mother and father's bed, hoover out the car, cut the grass, mop the floors, and you know what thanks I got for that? A kick up the hole. I'm just heading out to stretch the legs.
All right.
How are you? I have a marathon coming up. Have to avoid injury. Can't be too careful.
Did you do that? Rory, what were you doing there?
My mother and my father spent 45 minutes bubble wrapping me, and I've never sweated as much in my life than I did with that. And one of the neighbours, my ma's Rory, was looking at it, goes, "Oh, it's Rory." That makes sense.
Rory doing one of his videos. I love the one, you know what you need is a kick up the arse. What did I ever get for a kick up the arse for doing the jobs? We were actually talking about that this morning, about giving your kids pocket money. Like, how do you give your kids pocket money if you do, and do you make them do jobs for pocket money?
Yeah, like the standard cleaning out the dishwasher, tidy up, living room, but not exactly like, X amount. No, not really, not strict on it. Probably should be. So she's at home now. I'm going to tell her that she needs to, where's the camera? She needs to make sure you need to do your chores in future.
List of jobs.
Because you've got a 12-year-old, 6-year-old, 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God, that's a father's sigh there, isn't it? I do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're wrecked.
Wrecked, yeah. Very tired.
You're very tired. And you decided you've written a book on parenting.
Yeah.
Because you know it all now, is that it?
Yeah, well, not like just warning people. Like, people need to be warned that, like, this is not easy, like, you know, and prepare for it. But it's, yeah, there's so much, like, I've done a lot of content, obviously, there with the parenting point of view. There's so much, I suppose, reality that people need to know. Like, people think, oh, my child is this. They don't. Like, it's hard, and everyone is upside down in every house. So I put it all into a book to hopefully will make people feel a bit better about their parenting.
Yeah, a lot of us do think that we're only messing, we're chancing our arm, or we're spoofing it, we're trying to just
100%,
survive.
Yeah. Imposter syndrome is real with parents, like, because we're like, why am I a parent? I can't even mind myself, and I have to try to tell my children what to do. So that's just... Yeah, so glad to hear, Ray, you're in the same boat as me.
No, well, there's loads of these people. Karen Coster's the biggest one for me. That you look at their socials and it's like, oh my God, the perfect parent, the perfect mom. I can never compete. Sorry, Karen. But no, there's loads.
You know
of these,
he's joking.
There's loads of these influencers genuinely that are like, here's how you're supposed to do it. We just talked about one a couple of minutes ago about the chores. That apparently a child from the age of 2, just give them little jobs that they're supposed to be able to do. And we're like, he's 12. The ship has sailed.
Yeah, oh, sorry, he's 12.
We've ruined him. Do you know what I mean? You're supposed to start teaching them chores from 2. So yeah, it's healthy to have other parents go, no, actually, you're not alone, and we're all this together.
All like organic, checking the back of all these organic bars to make sure what's in them and all this. Get away from me, will you?
You do say in the book it takes guts to bring your child shopping.
Oh yeah, it's that age between, I'd say, 2 and 4, because they're liable to do anything, like, as you know, and they don't respect you. You know what I mean? They're not going to listen, and everyone walking by looking, and it is, and then you hold, I'm going to leave you here, and then you know I can't, because they'll just win the war and you have to go back and get them. So, yeah, I kind of look at other people now. I've been there, and you need like don't look, because God knows what's going on there. Just, you don't need you to look. Just leave us be here. And anyone who's been there won't look. They'll just say, oh, walk away, leave you be. So. Tantrums in the supermarket.
Is that what we need to do? Just walk on by, lads. No rubbernecking.
Yeah. That's just because the last thing you want is like someone looks, oh, look at that bold child. You're like, okay, you try to do something.
Yeah, you have a go,
You have a go here. You
yeah.
tell me what to do here. Yeah, you know what I mean? They won't. Anyone who's in, it's like when your child is having a nightmare on a plane, you think that everyone's listening, but they're not, like, and that's where you sympathise. When you have kids, you look over, go, it's grand, I've been there, here's sweets, whatever. So, yeah, that's what toddlers do, like.
That's just what toddlers do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do. Writing this, did you learn anything about yourself and your kids? Just that it's a war zone?
Yeah, it's a war zone, yeah. And I suppose trying not to be your parents. I remember one day, ice cream van came, and I was like, listen, when I was your... And my neighbour goes, don't go there, Rory. I says, I'm actually not going to go there. Like, I was about to give them, well, I was your age. It wasn't even an ice cream van, and if there was, we got once a month, and he's coming every day. And I was like, please don't repeat what your parents said to you. So that's what I found myself when I was writing it, going, I sound a bit like my dad here, like, when I'm typing it, but, like, yeah.
Yeah, we do that in our house all the time. And there is that thing, particularly with the ice cream van, the minute the jangly song comes on, they burst in the door demanding money. And, I mean, the ice cream van could come twice a day during the summer.
Twice a day? My lad comes 4 times in the middle of November.
That's an ice cream problem.
I can hear do-do-do-do-do, and I just blinds down, stand up and go, baby, shuck the do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And my wife will be looking out the window to see if he's gone. No, keep dancing, baby. Because they come at dinner time.
Yeah.
And how are you meant to make a child have vegetables when there's a 99 right outside their door?
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen. And then there's the 99. Don't they up all night? And this is... No, listen, they got to make their living, but don't be coming in the middle of November at 5 o'clock. Come on, pal.
Yeah, I'm convinced they're only coming to our house now.
Oh, that's it, just you.
Oh, no, your man does come down and he's saying, well, oh, Rory, all right there, yeah. So, anyway.
Up the
He knows what he's at.
All the way up to the door. There's another story you tell in the book about the types of parents at a kid's birthday party, I suppose, and we meet all sorts. At the birthdays.
Yeah, so you have, I suppose, the couple of them to name, you have, I call that the helicopter parent. So the parent that follows their child into the soft play area and won't let them do anything and is just stressed off their head the whole way around, climbing in. Guys as big as me climbing into the soft, making sure their little pet is okay. Yeah. Then if the parent just comes in, jacket off, runners off. Cappuccino, please. And then you'd hear a child crying and you're like, it's not mine yet, I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
And then, as I said, you have the organic, like they'd be lying out with your, and then they, oh, it's okay, my little Bobby here has his own. She'd be taking out like all healthy bars and all this and making sure his sugar and all this kind of nonsense. So they're all named in, and it's based off experiences. Like my friend's like, is that part about me? I'm like, no, that's 100% about them.
It's you.
Yeah.
If you think it's you, It's you.
It's probably you.
This is Rory Story's Guide to Parenting, your book.
It's funny. There's lots of funny stuff
There
in
really
there.
is.
What I was going to say is that, like, on the radio, and even on here, I take the mickey out of my kids a lot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I get a lot of crack out of it. I make a lot of jokes out of it, and people would have the impression that I don't love them, or I don't even like them at times because of the way I talk about them. But I do. I adore them.
People always say that, like, the haters would say, "Oh, Rory Stories hates his kids." I don't. I'm just saying reality. Like.
Yeah, and
I guarantee anyone who probably doesn't have kids, you know what I mean? It's like you have to understand. Of course, you love them, but it's hard. It really is difficult. You don't leave the rotunda with instructions or with a map. You just have to go out and make your own.
And then you find the fun in it as well.
You have to.
Tell us about, we saw you in the bubble wrap, and you should still be wrapped in bubble wrap. You ran the marathon on Sunday.
I did, yeah, but as I'm saying, I've kept it very quiet though. I don't know, like, I haven't told many people about it.
Kept it to yourself.
Because you need to be humble about these things. You know what I mean? I was only short of coming in here at the medal and going, all right, lads. Yeah, as I said, what's the point in running a marathon without telling the whole world?
Absolutely,
like, you know what I mean?
But you just reminded me, you said here last January, I'm going to run the marathon. And we were like, myself and I were like, all right, yeah. You did it.
Yeah, that's why I put it out there. Because if it's out there, you got to do it.
Right,
you're accountable then, you know what I mean? And yeah, like it's...
How are you? People say life-changing. Oh, my God, best thing I've ever done.
No. I don't know how people get... I know, addicted to it. Not really. Like, it's all brilliant, as you said, till you get to about mile 20. And then you're just in hell.
How many is it? What, 23?
It's 26.2.
Sorry, sir.
Don't underestimate.
I've never
like,
done
people
it,
that done it last will know you come up and then there's like this sign. I thought it was finished, but it had 300 metres on it. And my mind was going cuckoo. And I thought, and I said, I said to my brother, does that say 300 metres? Oh my God. And you feel 300 metres is like the length of the car park. But when you're at the end of that, and like I was like a rhino at the last few water stations coming in, knocking over people. At one stage, I was throwing Lucasade over the top of my head. And there was two randomers walking down the main road who oblivious to the marathon. And I go, sorry, can I have your bottle of water? She was like, okay, yeah.
Go for it.
Pure survival mode, yeah.
So you won't be doing it again then, or Iron Man, or
like no, not exactly like a long distance runner here. You know what I mean? Like I'm carrying a lot of weight, so like it was a lot of like you're burning. I think it was 5,000 calories in your run, and it's too much on the body. Like
you did it for your son Zach for the charity As I Am, the autism charity.
Yeah. So that listen, when the dust settles, that's what like we raised over 20 grand for As I Am, like which like for me and like I was. Like on the back of the t-shirts, we had everyone deserved the same chance. Like, and that for me was the biggest because, listen, I'm obviously very open about like mental health and about people not getting the right choices or chance in life. Like we spoke with the boys in Mountjoy, some lads in there never had a chance and that. So everyone deserves the same chance, and so anyone on the autism spectrum. And it made me proud. Like, do you know what I mean? I remember like running and people tap you on the back saying, "Oh, my son is autistic, fair play." And it is an emotional thing, and it's just, it was never about the money. It was always just about giving spotlight to people who have autism. That, to me, was the number one, and like fathers like coming up and saying, like, I feel a bit more comfortable talking about it because you have. And it is hard. When you hear the word autism as a parent, it's just like, you just think this is going to be a battle for my son or daughter for the rest of their life. But it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't. They should have the same chance as everyone else. And that's why this, for me, was the number one. And that's why I trained. That's why I done what I done, is to be able to raise money, but also now, OK, it is OK to speak about it, and it's OK that they deserve the same chance. Like, SNAs are amazing people. The work they do, there's not enough. Like, you know, there's how many billions sitting in some bank? Why isn't that going into SNAs? Why isn't that supporting schools? Why isn't that given the same chance to every child? Children can't go to school with anxiety, with stress, worried. They should be able to, and they should have the facilities. So, you know, it's been great. And the guys at Sensory Pod are after one lucky winner's going to win a sensory room that donated. So it's all positive, like, you know what I mean? My muscles are recovering now, but, you know, at the end of the day, they're going through a lot more hardship than I ever will, or anyone that marathon. So hopefully this will fuel Bob and raise awareness. Zach's great, yeah. Where I must say hello to him.
Say hello to him.
Yeah.
Look right down there.
All right, Zach and Lucy watching at home, yeah.
And your baby girl, or your was not your baby? She was
my daughter, Ellie, yeah.
I was just about to say, why aren't you saying hi to her?
Yeah. She's probably still in bed, that's why, yeah. So she was 12 yesterday, so happy birthday, Ellie, yeah.
Oh, look at you, gorgeous.
Fair play, man.
Rory.
A huge congrats on the marathon. As I Am is the name of the charity. Show your support if you can. And the book, Rory's Stories Guide to Parenting. Rory O'Connor, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Cheers, thank you.
Rory, thanks
cheers,
so
sir.
much.
Thank you.
Now, Alberto Rossi from the Intercontinental Hotel is joining us this morning with a dish that's scarily tasty.
Yes, pumpkin risotto is on the menu. Alberto, pumpkins.
Pumpkin risotto, pumpkin very, very, very good. And you have all different kind of pumpkins that give a different flavour.
Right, really?
I didn't know
here
that.
in Ireland we are used to use butternut squash as a pumpkin, okay?
Okay.
And it's very liquidy compared to other pumpkins and it's not as sweet. Here you have what's called the jack-o'-lantern. It's quite sweet.
Yeah.
And then you have this one that it's a kind of a Japanese pumpkin, you know? And it's very thick, very sweet. So I'm using this for the risotto, okay?
Okay.
And there are two stages at this. One is that you have to cook the pumpkin and then you do the risotto, okay?
Okay.
So what I did is I cut my pumpkin in half and then I took the seeds off, skin off, and I put it in the oven, covered in tin foil, with a little bit of water, salt, and a little bit of wine. And it comes quite dry like this, and it looks... But you see, then you mash it.
Kind of like turnips, is it?
Exactly. It's like a turnip. It's the same texture of the turnip, and you use these to do your risotto, okay?
Okay.
So to start your risotto, you have your pan, medium heat, okay? And portion-wise, if you have a punch of rice per portion, that will do one person, okay? That's another secret that you can do, okay?
A fistful of it,
A
is it?
fistful, that's one portion. So you know that if you're cooking for 4, you do 4 and maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
You know?
There you go. No measuring cups here, just straight
No,
into the palm of your hand.
straight into that. Then you have your shallots or onion. I always use shallots, they're a little bit sweeter.
What's the difference?
Well, onion, first of all, it's huge. You know, and if you're only making risotto
so
for 4...
is that the shallots there?
Yeah, these are the
little
shallots. You know,
yeah.
it's a mix between an onion and, they say, a garlic, but it's more of onion than a garlic, okay?
Okay.
But would
It's
you always
sweeter.
use that? Would you always buy them instead of onions?
I always have the fridge full of shallots. And sometimes I go buy them and then my wife buys them and then we have shallots all over the place, you know? Just an onion, usually it's quite big, you know? And to use a whole onion, you tend to use too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know? So instead, get the shallots, way smaller, and it takes even less space, okay? Now, for the risotto, we know already oil, shallots, and rice, and then with the back of the hand, you check, remember, if it's hot or not, okay?
You're kind of roasting it a little bit, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You're toasting it because then it releases the starch in a better way. Then you have your wine. Remember the tip? Always the one that you like.
Yeah, so
Okay,
you can
so
drink
then you
it as
can
well.
drink it while you're making it, okay? And then you deglaze the rice with it, and then you start to cook it like this, okay? Once the wine is absorbed, okay, we can start to add your mashed pumpkin. So it's not stressful in a way that you have to cut it to a certain size and then cook it for this long.
How long was it in the oven for?
It was in the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. That's a good bit then.
It is not, but it's not much, you know, it's not that you have to be there looking at it, okay?
No, yeah.
And then you throw it in like that. It's quite clumpy, but then as you cook, it'll calm down, okay? So then you see, you start to add your stock. I use here chicken stock, but if you are vegetarian, you can use vegetarian stock, okay?
Okay.
And,
would you always use chicken stock in risotto?
Well, you would. You know,
Okay.
the proper recipe is always for chicken stock because it's harder, it is stronger, it gives much better flavor. But if you're vegetarian, you can use the vegetarian stock, no problem. Now, here I have one that's already done, as you can see.
So you got to constantly stir, is that right, with risotto?
Yeah, especially this with the pumpkin. As I said, the pumpkin has starch in it. So as I'm cooking it and it reduces the liquid in it, it will start to attach itself to the bottom of the pan. So just make sure that you always stir for a minute and a half. It's a great place to mansplain anything in the kitchen when you're cooking risotto because you can stand there and turn around and tell everybody what to do. You're too busy making the risotto, okay?
Yeah, I'm stuck to the saucepan. And do you need to keep adding liquid to it?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So you see now I'm making like this, and as it absorbs it, you add more stock to it, okay? So it's like addition by addition. And if you were to do, let's say, 400 grams of risotto, that would be enough for 4 or 5 people.
How do you know when it's ready?
You taste it. So you
I knew he was going to say that. But I knew you were going to say that. But, like,
You taste it
in
and
the texture,
the
because
texture
you
needs
might
to
like
be
it maybe a little al dente, and I wouldn't like that. And I would
true,
think,
but you know, if you go and you go eat for someone that is cooking for you, you eat the way that they serve it to you.
oh, okay.
But that's why where you need to make it, taste it, and you're like, okay, you have to have a little bite, but if it tastes raw, that the bite is
but
too
you
strong,
still
so
like
that's
the
no
little
good.
bite in it.
Exactly.
You see, I
like
don't.
a little bite. Now, this one I cooked a little bit more
Oh
for
my
you,
God,
Alan.
look
okay?
at this.
And then
Oh,
you see,
really?
you finish it with the
What was that
Parmesan,
that went in there? That was just a whole load of Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan and butter.
And a big.
Yeah, so in Italian
knob
you
of
call
butter.
these,
Oh, wow.
you know, you kind of fold in and you make it nice and creamy, okay? And then when you
love
serve
risotto.
it, you have the risotto, okay?
And you just serve it like that, would you?
Yeah, but now look, this is what we do in Italy, okay? The pumpkin, as I said, is quite sweet. And sometimes that could be quite heavy on your taste buds.
Yeah.
So in Italy, we have this biscotti called amaretti. I don't know if you ever
Oh,
saw
no,
them.
biscotti, yeah.
Amaretti.
Biscuit.
You crunch
Oh.
it on it, okay? It's very, very good.
A little bit of biscuit on your risotto,
Yeah, but
please.
this one is...
There you
And then
go.
I fried some sage leaves,
Fried
okay.
sage, okay.
just because I add them. And it makes a difference. Try
Oh,
it.
wow.
That looks delicious.
So you have the sweetness of the risotto, and then you have...
Did we see a picture of the final one there? We get a shot of it. That absolutely.
Yeah, I
so
was
the
wondering if it's
biscotti
gonna be
little
sweet.
biscuit over the top of it.
That is crunchy, has the little glaze of sweetness on it, and it should be very, very well.
Yeah.
Because usually people say, oh, risotto is so boring. It is not. It depends from
Why
the
do
flavor
people
that
say
you do.
risotto is boring?
Because probably they haven't eaten a proper risotto.
How long would you be, like from start to finish in terms of stirring?
18 minutes.
All right, it's not that long. It's not hours and hours.
Exactly. No, it's an hour.
Okay,
If you have 40 minutes for the pumpkin in day, 80 minutes for cooking, so you can do it all in 45 minutes. It's all done and
Alberto,
sorted.
as always,
lovely.
delicious. That is delicious.
Delighted.
Thank you so
Very
much
good.
for that.
You're
That's lovely.
welcome.
Get on the
Brilliant.
website. You can get the recipe. Coming up, Deric's meeting one of Halloween's biggest fans.
Yes, he's going to be checking out one of Dublin's best decorated houses. We'll see after this break.
Welcome back. Now, Deric's spooky week continues with plenty of surprises in store.
Yes, he's ventured to Donabate this morning to check out one hellish haunted house. No offence.
Yes.
Deric, how are you finding your visit to the House of Horrors?
Woo! Guys, we put the call out on social media last week to find Ireland's most spooky home, and this morning, guess what? We've landed here in the House of Horrors up in Donabate in North County Dublin. And Dignan, we met her earlier on, and you've completely transformed.
No longer am Derek. I'm the Wicked Witch of the East now.
The Wicked Witch of the
Wicked
East.
Witch
I
of the East.
absolutely love it. Now, first up, tell us about your home here this morning, because you have gone gaga for Halloween.
I absolutely love Halloween, Derek. I've always loved it, and I just love for the kids especially. Like, these are all the kids that come to the street and knock every year, and they absolutely. The more things you put out, the more excitement and fun.
Now, Anne, this didn't start this year. In fact, you've been doing this for a couple of years, right?
Yeah, about I'd say full on 10 years now, and it gets really competitive with the neighbours.
Yeah.
So everybody puts things up, and every year you add a little bit more and create a little bit more, and the kids just
absolutely love it.
Absolutely.
Now, Anne, first up, the cost of it. I mean, how do you afford all of this? It's incredible.
Derek, I make a lot of things myself, so I get very creative. So if I have a sheet, a curtain sheet, I'll make a ghost. If I have memory foam, spray foam, I will make a grave. I will headstone. You name it, I will try and do it. And I get all my inspiration off Facebook and everything like that. But I actually have I buy later on, so if there was, I wait for the sales.
You wait for the sales. So you get 50% off, you get 70% off, whatever it is.
Yeah,
so you're the one that kind of trawl around the shops.
I'm the one that picks up the pieces after, yeah.
Okay, now, I know you have a lot of stuff and people are seeing shots on air there. Where, in God's name, do you store it all at?
The attic.
How big is your attic?
It's big because I won't get a shed because I don't like spiders.
There we go. I love it. Now, I mean, you don't really have upstairs. It's mainly downstairs. But you've gone to an amazing effort. I mean, do people think you're bonkers?
No, anybody who knows me, like, knows I'm mad crazy Halloween. And then anybody who doesn't know me gets to know me. So at the end of the day, like, it doesn't, you know, it's all for the fun of it.
I mean, so when you have family and friends, your neighbours calling around and they open the front door and they're like, here, Anne.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. And like I'm like this Halloween night, and it's just incredible because you get so many, you know, little kids grow up through the years, and you can see them grow, and they still come back. Even the teenagers with their pillowcases are back, and they're this height now at this stage.
And they know they'll call to Anne Dignan's doorstep, and they're in
they'll
for
all
a
be
proper
here.
treat.
Definitely.
All right, we're going to say hello here to Oisín. Good morning to you, Oisín.
Hi, Deric.
Oisín, are you loving the house here this morning?
I'm loving the house here. I've never been inside, and I always wanted to see her house in here.
What's your favourite thing about the house?
My favourite thing about the house is her big Halloween ghost outside in the front garden. It's really nice.
Really cool. And what are you dressing up for? What are you dressing up as for Halloween?
I'm dressing up as a killer clown, so I have my killer clown mask.
There we go. You look like a proper killer clown, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, that looks great. And what about you, Emily? What are you dressing up as for Halloween?
I'm being a black cat, but for now I'm a pop.
You're a pop princess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your favourite thing about the house here this morning?
I just love the way that she puts everything up, and that, like, she has a witch in the window.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
That's your favourite thing. All right. Well, look, Anne, we couldn't leave here without a little bit of a game.
Absolutely.
And what are we doing here this morning?
Well, I heard you're quite competitive, so I thought, let's bring on a challenge. What can we do? Because I don't want my head dunked.
Yes, no, and we were dunking, heads last week. Yes.
Yeah. So we have eyeball pong.
Okay, so we have eyeball pong.
Come on
Right,
over
guys.
here and stand
Are you
here.
ready for
Good
this,
boy.
guys?
Ready?
Yeah!
Well, Deric, see, there's the thing is, if you get an eyeball, they get a treat.
Okay, so guys, if we get an eyeball in, you all get sweets. Yeah, how's that sound? They're going to be weird. Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. I can't see a thing. Oh. Okay, you're going. Oh. Okay, here we go.
Ready?
Go for that.
Oh!
Yeah! Okay, 2 more, Anne. Let's go.
Ready?
2 more. There we go, Anne.
Yeah!
Here we go.
Well,
okay.
Come back.
2 more there, Anne. Yes! Okay, one more. Anne, come on, we can do it. Yay! There we go. Oh my God, it's mayhem and madness here this morning. We've had a fantastic morning. Guys, save me. Back to studio.
Well done, Deric.
It was actually, there's more stuff than I could ever even imagine. I'm sure there's some people at
Terrifying.
home who are going, oh my God, I can't believe that much stuff. And other people going, that's amazing. Well done. Now, coming up on the rest of the show, Ronan Collins, he's going to be talking Showband stars and songs from the golden era of music.
Author and illustrator Alan Nolan teaches us how to draw some creepy characters.
And movie star Cillian Murphy gives us the lowdown on his latest film. We'll see you after the break.
Hello, welcome back. Now, our movie man, Brian Lloyd, he went along to the premiere of new Irish film Small Things Like These last night.
Yes, he caught up with the cast and crew of the movie, including Oscar winner Cillian Murphy.
Let's take a look at how he got on.
I'm here at the Irish premiere of Small Things Like These in the Lighthouse Cinema. We're going to be talking to Cillian Murphy and some of the stars of the movie to get an insight into the world of the film.
River Wine. River Wine, correct. And this one here.
Let's get out there. Mommy! Mommy, please! Daddy! No! Come on. Daddy!
She asked me to get her out. I'm sorry, love.
Please, don't leave me here. Take me home.
I'm wondering, I mean, what awareness did you have of the Magdalene laundries, if any?
Honestly, very little as a youngster. And it's only kind of later, I suppose, as all the revelations came out that I began to have some sort of consciousness of it, really.
What was it specifically that drew you to this? Was it just the writing, or was it the story?
It was the writing and the story, and I think the strength of Claire's writing is the power she has to write tiny little detail and really make it resonate. You know, that's her genius.
I don't know why, but I am more drawn to the darker roles, and I'm just very proud to get to play roles like this, actually.
How do you kind of expel the darkness or whatever? I mean, is
when
it
you're
just
making it, you mean?
when you're making it, and then afterwards, yeah.
I don't. It doesn't hang around with me, you know.
Really, yeah?
No. I find it very joyous making work, you know, and particularly with friends and with great artists. And there's a lot of laughing, you know. You have to, but you take it you're deadly serious about the work. You know?
Yeah. Cillian Murphy, obviously, you know, the star of this. What's he like to work against, to play against?
Do you know, he makes it so easy to act against. Do you know, like, it's like you're drawn into the world. You actually forget you're on a film set.
When it comes to playing a scene, it's meeting somebody who's done the work and who's able to leave it behind and just meet eye to eye and heart to heart, and that's the difference. He's a bloody good actor.
I think the best actors are like that. They make your job so much easier, and they make you believe so much more what you're doing.
What role do you think the Catholic Church should play in the Irish education system, if any?
Well, I think that we have to recognise that, you know, the legacy of the Catholic Church in Ireland is one of great achievement in education, but also a legacy of abuse and cruelty. And I think we have to kind of get our head around the fact that those things are both true, and it's a hard thing to reconcile.
There has to be a separation, because otherwise you've got church-informed education. And otherwise we'd all be thinking the earth is flat.
What do you hope people will take away from this film?
I really don't want to be prescriptive about it. I think everyone's going to have a different point of view. Some people are walking around and this was their lived reality, you know. And some people have never met their parents because of this, and some people have never met their children. So I really want people to take from it what personally they individually feel, you know. And it should be entertaining, but it should be gently provocative. That's what I hope. Now, and
Stunning.
you can catch small things like these in cinemas from the 1st of November.
Absolutely. Now, coming up, radio legend Ronan Collins is joining us.
Yes, we've got music and memories for you after the break.
Hello, welcome back. Now, our next guest is a much-loved radio presenter and Showband star.
Joining us now to chat about his latest venture, it's broadcaster and musician Ronan Collins.
Morning.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning.
Lovely to see you. You're looking fantastic.
I woke up with scaldy eyes this morning. Do you know that?
Scaldy eyes.
Yeah, that 5 o'clock in the morning eyes.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I still have them. I'm very well. Thank you very
You're
much.
looking fantastic. It's a big week for you. Jessica, your daughter's getting married on Friday.
Get married on Friday, yeah. And yeah, we're very excited about that, you know.
Did she meet her partner on first dates?
Yeah, Ger Lynch, yeah.
Wow.
Weird, isn't it?
So it was all out there right away. We've all been invested in the relationship publicly.
Yeah, and it's funny, but it's the modern way, isn't it? You know.
Well, on telly is a bit more modern than any of us would think. Did you watch the episode?
I think I did. Yeah.
You can't remember. So Ger made a big impression, did he?
I'm sure I did. Well, you see, when they did the first dates thing, nothing happened after it. Really, you know. I mean, they stayed friends, but they weren't an item. And then I think Jessica was homeless again. And Ger had a room in his house in Deric, and they were friends, so she became a housemate. And then she says, then they clicked.
It blossomed.
Why am I telling you that?
It's lovely.
Well, congratulations to all three of you.
It's lovely.
Yeah. And she's a comedian, of course, as well. She was in Galway last week for the Galway Comedy Festival.
Yeah,
wasn't she?
she's great. She started that in about 2014, 2015, I think, and didn't tell me a lot about it. I knew she was doing it, and she never wanted anybody to know her dad was.
Yeah, okay.
And then she tweaked that, God, my dad could be a good subject.
So did she take the mickey out of you on stage?
I gather she does, yeah.
Really?
You gather?
And I deserve every bit of
Not
it.
at all, not a bit of it. Will you be performing at the wedding?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I've got my own band are coming in for the wedding, yeah. So.
Oh, come on, isn't that very handy now? Saving
Yeah,
on the
you'll be
band
charging.
costs.
But that Jessica wanted that, and she wanted me to do a bit, and she'll do a bit, and the entire family do a bit. We sing a couple of songs together, which we haven't done in years. We used to do it in karaoke down in Portugal, so we'll all get up, and it'll be good fun, and the band will play great wedding music.
And what's kind of the set? We were talking earlier on about the most popular first dance song in the world is Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. I assume you're not playing that.
I don't think so.
No.
The band might play it, I don't know, because we have Karen Black in the lineup in the band. She might sing it, but first dance, I don't think I had a first dance on my wedding.
What did you do?
I was a musician, I was a drummer, yeah, I didn't dance.
Right.
And I think if I've danced with my wife half a dozen times in our life.
Are you the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very self-conscious dancing, like, yeah.
Would you even
that first
sway?
dance thing, that I regret not preparing for it, that we didn't put more effort. You know, with some couples pre-wedding, they like to get classes or whatever. It was kind of an afterthought, yeah.
We got married 46 years ago, and I don't think first dance was a thing.
Was a thing
I don't think
at the time. Because obviously you're bringing, like, your show band, you've been, like, you're touring around all the time.
Yeah, when I finished on radio nearly 2 years ago, and I remember saying it here with you, because you were saying to me, what are you going to do? And I said, well, there's things I want to do, and, you know, I need time to plan those. And this was the main thing, was to do a tour on my own of showband nostalgia, because I've had an interest in showbands since I was a kid. And they're a great story. It was a phenomenon in Ireland, and it's all 60 years ago. And I don't want the memory of the thing to just dissipate into nothing. So I got an idea for a show that would be showband hits and stories. So I tell stories about the stars, obviously, but also about the people in the band and what kind of a life it was on the road, and sing the hits. And we're halfway through the tour now, and it's been fantastic.
This is Showband Hits and Stories. You are on your nationwide tour. He's not going to be there on Friday. He's got a wedding to attend. Yeah. But October, November, beginning of December as well. People can find out more at, we're going to put it up online. It's / you can just Google it, Showband Hits and Stories. But you've been involved in show bands. That's the thing. Like, you were a drummer in Dickie Rock's band, weren't you?
Yeah, in the 70s. And I was a drummer before that in bands around Dublin. And it was a fantastic time. And when I got the offer from Dickie for the job, it was an opportunity to see what life was like on the road. The showband thing had kind of faded a lot by then, but the big stars still continued to do great. Yeah. Dickie, Joe Dolan, Brendan Boyer when he came home at the time. So it was a great opportunity to sample life on the road, and it was tough.
I can imagine.
Life on the road was tough, yeah. I only did it for 3.5 years.
Because it was so tough?
Yeah, probably, but you know, the situations developed where, you know, I'd really had enough of it. Yeah. You know, I wasn't born to be on the road. I was inquisitive to find out what it was like on the road. Yeah. And I found it tough, you know, and then I stopped that in early 79 to go to nothing. And then I got a job in RTE.
How long were you in RTE for?
43.5 years.
Checkers. It's so. I remember when you said it was 2 years. Gone 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, but you think you're doing it a long time until you realise, like Johnny Walker on the BBC, 56 years.
Yeah. Was it last week or the week before?
Last Sunday was his last.
And he did his last show last Sunday, and you know, when it just 43.5 years.
Like that.
Now what'll I do?
Well, yeah. I wanted to say I haven't seen you since you retired and since your last show, and I was listening to it. I was waiting for the train at the Dart station, and I was like, "Oh Jesus, Ronan is finishing up." Yeah. And I stuck it on, and the train hadn't arrived yet, and you started playing "Thank You for Being a Friend," and I'm getting on the train crying. I was crying.
Yeah, it was really.
Yeah, and I think you did that to a lot of people across the country.
Well, it was. I finally cracked. For the first time ever in 43.5 years, because it was emotional, you know. It suddenly struck me that, you know, I'm finishing something that's been such a huge part of my life for such a long time. And I'm really taking a step into no man's land because I had no plans. I had no idea what I was going to do, you know. And it wasn't, it was all about, you know, what am I going to do? Am I going to be sitting at home looking out the window?
Yeah.
But then I went straight into a Showband tour with Reeling in the Showband Years.
And haven't slowed down.
How does it feel? Like, listen, obviously an awful lot of people were shocked when you were gone from a show you'd been there for so long.
I'm not sure they were shocked.
I don't know.
I think they were sorry. Like they were, you know, it's like when a comfy blanket or a cushion on a chair gets all ripped and you realise you have to throw it out. It was time for me to stop, you know.
And what do you think, looking in the 2 years since you've been gone, obviously RTE has been in the papers the whole time.
Yeah, well, it was sad. But RTE's always in the papers, you know. At this time, it had nothing to do with the people on the air or nothing to do with the real programme makers. It had to do with management. And, you know, RTE has always been a target from their opposition, the newspapers and all that kind of thing, you know. And it was unfortunate that that had happened, but it was right that it came out.
You're actually not gone from RTE though. You're on RTE Gold.
Yeah, I'm on RTE Gold. I still go in there and I don't see very many people in there because the radio centre famously now is like a morgue. You know, there's very few people in the place because they've moved a lot of the programmes over to the television building. But it's nice to go in there. I love being on the air. It kind of fulfills my need to still do that.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing it because it's like what I was doing earlier on. It's like being a DJ.
Yeah.
And
it's some retirement, isn't it? A big retirement, making us all cry, playing Thank You for Being a Friend, still on the radio every day, and touring with a show.
It was an extraordinary couple
amazing.
of weeks from the day I announced it, which was the 9th of December 2022, to the day I finished 2 weeks later, 23rd of December. And it was an extraordinary couple of weeks. And it was emotional and it was happy. And you know, I had no sadness about it.
Yeah. You think you're gone and they pull you back.
It's like the mafia. It sure is.
Ronan has his brand new show. It's called Showband Hits and Stories, where you're chatting, you're singing. All the big band is there as well. It's on a nationwide tour going right through until December. You can find out more online just by Googling Ronan Collins. Ronan, thank you so much for
Good luck. Enjoy the wedding. Enjoy the weekend.
Enjoy the wedding.
And the wedding, yeah. Father of the bride. Yeah.
Woo! He doesn't have a speech written, he said. It'll be grand. It'll come to him.
He'll wing it. No better man. All right, coming up, illustrator Alan Nolan's got some scary sketches for us.
Yes, we're going to be drawing creepy cartoons. That's coming up very shortly on Ireland AM.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, award-winning children's author and illustrator Alan Nolan has been delighting kids with stories for years.
Yes, and his latest offering is a must for mystery lovers, and he joins us now to share more. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
How are things? We've been flicking through the riddle of the disappearing Dickens, your latest offering. This is a Bram Stoker, a young Bram Stoker in action.
Yes.
Well, Bram Stoker we know from Dracula, right? But he wasn't he Irish?
He was, yeah. He was from Clontarf. He was from Marino Crescent in Clontarf, was where he was born and raised.
Yeah. And how did you first become aware of him?
Well, I became aware of him mainly through the book Dracula. When I was about 10, gone on 11, my granny, Nanny Gig was her name, she gave me a book called Dracula. She was into scary stories. She was into telling stories about banshees and ghosts and Olive Fesh and leprechauns, all the Irish monsters. So she knew I liked scary stories. So she gave me this highly inappropriate book.
Yeah, I was just going to say
for a 10-year-old. Exactly, for a 10-year-old.
For a Dracula
really
for a 10-year-old.
Inappropriate book for a 10-year-old. I read it when I was a kid. I was scared. It scared the pajamas off me. Like
literally.
Literally, I was reading it at night time, turning off the light, 10 years old, going to sleep, waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning with screaming nightmares. Going, the huge big vampire, he's going to stick his teeth in me neck and suck it out me.
Oh my God.
And my granny, because she was a live-in granny, she'd be waking up as well, you know, the next door along, waking up and going, oh, there he is, 3 o'clock in the morning, he's still beating spookies and giants. I'm glad I gave it him.
You do her very well. But tell me, like Bram Stoker in this, all joins forces with Molly Malone, another very famous Irish, Dublin institution, Molly Malone.
Yeah. Well,
how did that come about?
Well, when I decided I was going to write a book about Bram Stoker, I didn't want to write about him when he was old, because it's boring writing about adults. I wanted to write about him when he was a kid. So I was looking around to see who else would have been about 10, 11 years old in 1858. Couldn't find anyone interesting enough. So then it hit me one night. God, Molly Malone, she's in the song. Everybody knows her. Everybody knows the song. Every tourist who comes to Ireland, I think, has to sign a piece of paper swearing that they'll sing the Molly Malone song in Temple Bar while they're in Dublin. And I said to myself, right, nobody knows her backstory. She's fictional. It'll be great. We can think up something for her. So my books, I made her into a pickpocket. Like the Artful Dodger.
So she was a character, yeah. And I get much more age appropriate for a 10-year-old as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Written specifically
Nanny
for
Gig
10-year-olds.
could have learnt a thing or two from your work as an adult.
Absolutely.
Right. So the illustrations are absolutely fabulous. It's really gorgeous. You're going to give us some pointers or an art lesson.
I am, absolutely. Now, the covers of the books were done by a great guy called Shane Kluski, a fantastic illustrator from
They're the
Galway.
covers, yeah.
I do a few of the little illustrations inside.
Yeah.
But I am going to show you how to draw something really, really spooky today.
Okay.
I'm going to show you how to draw Dracula.
Oh, actually Dracula.
Actually Dracula.
Okay.
Actually, well, it could be a non-brand vampire, but we call him Dracula for the sake of the small.
non-brand
He calls the
vampire.
Bram Stoker in the day that's in it. We call him Dracula.
Okay.
So you show us, because we're not great at this now, so you're going to have to take it nice and easy on this one.
Brilliant.
Step by step now, nice and simple.
Your yellow pack Dracula. You got your pen, you got
Yes.
your paper.
Yeah.
We're going to start off with, up the top of the sheet, a square. 3 sides of a square. A line going up, a line going across, and a line coming down like that.
Okay.
Okay, couldn't be easier.
I was going to say, that seems a bit odd for drawing Dracula, but it looks more like Frankenstein at the moment.
Oh, well, well, this is why Dracula has a square head. Think of where he sleeps. He sleeps in a coffin.
All right, okay, boom, boom.
So, we're going to do his hairstyle. Now, I've had hardly any hair. When I had hair, it was kind of a widow's peak. So we're going to draw a big V shape for a widow's peak like this. So it looks like an envelope.
Okay.
Okay, very good, right?
Okay.
Excellent. And then we're going to colour it in, but just about 2/3 of it coloured in black, because we want a little shine at the top, because he has nice shiny hair. He's a lot of product in it,
And I have to say, congratulations on your award. Outstanding contribution to children's literature. That's amazing.
I do what I can, yeah.
You must have been very proud of that.
I was delighted with that, yeah. And I felt like when I got it, I was going, God, this can't be me, this can't be me. But it just goes to show you, going out and mildly amusing children for the last couple of years has been, and encouraging them to read as well.
Well, that's the thing, it's so important. That is, I mean, I've kids myself, they're 10 and 12, and the minute they get stuck into a good book, but it's hard. There's so many books that come and go, they don't get, it doesn't engage them, they don't connect with it on some level. It's great to be able to make stuff that they actually stick with.
Well,
right. Sorry, go on.
Go on. What I loved when I was a kid was series like the Tintin series or, the Famous Five series. So I think a series of books can really help.
It can really help.
Yeah.
Okay. And just luckily you have them.
Oh, just... I didn't like to say, Alan, but yeah, there's a couple there.
They're all here.
She's got her hair done.
Next thing we're going to do is his eyebrows. Evil eyebrows. Really easy to draw. 3 lines. 1 line coming up, 1 line coming down, bigger line, little line coming up. Same on the other side, little line coming down this time, big line coming up, and little line coming down.
Okay.
Right. Beetly evil eyebrows.
Okay.
Yep. 2 big circles under the eyebrows, 1 here and 1 here. Maybe even just give him a little bag under his eye like that, make him even more evil.
He looks like me at 5 o'clock in the morning coming into this shift.
Well, I was using the mirror for inspiration this morning.
Come here, your nanny gigs there, your impression of her. Do you do that when you're actually out doing talks with kids and when you're doing your lunches?
I do dramatic readings for my books and I have a voice for Molly Malone. And
what's your voice for Molly Malone?
How are you? How's it going, Molly Malone?
That's just very
more strange.
Very more
some time.
Very like my granny.
Right, so
2 little
eyeballs.
circles for eyes.
Okay.
For the pupils of the eyes. Colour those in. I always leave a little bit of white just to give him a little bit of shine in his eyes. Oh, you're way ahead of me, right?
I know.
And then for his nose, basically a V shape like that.
All right.
Okay. Then for his ears, I'm going to draw 2 little lines up. Here a little bit longer there. Roundy lines coming back to the face. For his little batty ears. 2 lines coming down for the sides of his face. And then a huge big V shape down here. We're just going to draw his huge big collar. So to do the big collar, he's got it sticking up like he goes to Blackrock College. I'm going to draw a huge big V shape there. And then 2 round shapes from about the height of his eyebrows. One coming around like that. One coming around like that.
Oh, I've gone too big.
You've gone too big.
Right, look, we'll be fine.
So he looks like he's sticking his head out of a sort of beanbag.
Yeah.
And then for the bottom of his collar here and here, going to draw kind of upside down U's to make it kind of bat shaped. So a hein, a do, and a half one going to the middle.
Okay.
And then uno, dos, half one going to the middle.
Oh,
and we're
man.
nearly done. We just have his huge big mouth to do.
Yeah.
Yes. So to do his mouth, we're going to give a big curve going across like that. And then 2 big
fangs.
Huge big
Oh,
fangs coming
fangs.
down. So big fangs. So V shapes for the fangs.
Okay, right.
Big V shapes. One here.
Oh, like that.
And one here. And that is Wah.
There we go. All right. Baha, baha.
There we go.
Very good.
Excellent.
So Molly Malone and Bram Stoker in the riddle of the disappearing Dickens. So they go to London in this.
They go to London in this, yeah. They find out that their favourite author, Charles Dickens, has been kidnapped, but only after they arrive in London. They go over to London for something else. They find out he's been kidnapped, and they go looking for him.
When's the scoring? What's the point in doing this? It was a competition, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Who wins?
Holy moly.
Yeah, Ray's is better.
I don't know. I love yours, Alan.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I think yours is the best, Alan.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Controversial.
Look,
it's a setup.
It's a setup.
The votes.
Yeah, the votes. They're rigging the votes already. They're rigging the votes.
We're appealing. We're going straight to court. This is unacceptable.
Alan Nolan, the Molly
Al, thanks
Malone
so much,
and
man.
Bram Stoker in the riddle of the disappearing Dickens. As you said, a great trilogy for kids to read. And once again, congratulations on your award.
Thanks, Alan.
Well deserved. And we love
Thanks
your
for coming in.
characterizations this morning. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
for having
joining
me.
us.
Thanks, man.
Now, coming up, the wonderful witchy Phoebe Foran is cleansing our negative energies. We'll see after this quick break.
I had the biggest crowds. I had the biggest crowds.
Welcome
Thanks for
back.
staying with us now. Oh, that's you.
That's my name. That's me. See that?
I have
More
the smudge sticks here.
Smudge sticks are said to have spiritual properties that have traditionally been used to prevent illness, ward off negative energy, or cleanse a space.
Now, here to help us channel our inner magic ahead of Halloween is Forager Phoebe. Good morning to you,
Good
Forager.
morning.
You're
Love
swooping in.
Love the
These,
cape.
hold that now. These are our smudge sticks. So
these
what are they?
These are smudge sticks. So these are a collective, a bundle, effectively, of dried plants. So all plants have their own little energies that come to it. So you know yourself, like if someone was to give you roses, it's to symbolise love.
Right.
All plants have their own symbology. So what we do is with these, we literally collect dried plants and create energy cleansers.
When I see these, I think of the women going around their room saging. Isn't that what it's called? Going like this all around the room.
Yeah, so saging though refers to actually using a bundle that's made purely of sage.
And that's Native American.
That is, yeah, that's what the Native Americans would have actually used. Over here, we wouldn't have actually used them a huge amount. It would have been done in Scotland, and so it would have been then passed around throughout the Celtic regions, and it was called seining. Seining. But if I was to tell you we're going to go seining today, Mirren, you wouldn't have.
I quite like the sound of that. It's like, will I be sane after I do this? I love it.
Now, there's different herbs, different things here that for different properties.
So I brought you a couple of different ones that we're going to make our own ones. You're going to make your own seining stick today.
So I've lavender.
You've got lavender.
What has Mirren got here?
Mirren has St. John's wort.
Yeah.
And I have thyme. So this is like just to show that you can even
throw
just
that in your stew.
Use the ones that are, the end of the ones that you have. You can just hang them up and dry them like that, and they'll dry and they'll go crunchy, and then you have them to use, and you can actually create your own seining stick from them like that. So instead of going, oh my God, killing that plant and flinging it into the compost, you can actually still
just dry them out.
Just dry them out.
Now,
so
I've lavender here. Now, lavender is for healing. Innocence. What do you mean innocence?
So, well,
you need
generally it can be used with children as well. So just,
Okay.
keep for nice energies for children. This one will protect you from bad nightmares and bad energy. Mirren's one has a protection and healing property as well. But
off she goes.
It
No,
also,
she's working away. She's gone.
Okay, right. Well, then, since we're ahead of the game, all you're going to do is you're going to get it into your hand and like form your index finger to your thumb. So that's how you know you've got enough in it. And what?
Right, gotcha.
That's how you know you've got enough. And then what you can do is you can actually start just literally wrapping the string, but you're binding it tight to keep all of them together, right? So once you have them together in a little bundle
at the bottom,
end,
then work its way up.
then you start to snake it around like that and wrap it around itself a couple of times.
What would your favourite be?
Oh, well,
of your smudging?
I love one called mugwort. That's it. It's over there beside the pumpkin there.
And what's that do?
And that one there is one, I suppose, the most witchiest of all.
Oh,
so
right.
it will bring on very, very vivid dreams. So
Why do you want vivid dreams?
Well, if you want to, I suppose, speak to somebody who might have passed,
Oh,
or
okay.
if you want to, I suppose, ask questions out into the universe. It tends to give you nice dreams and give you little symbols of what's coming. That is looking gorgeous.
Well, there we go. It's done.
And then what you can do then is with your scissors, you can kind of trim the ends off. It depends. Some people like to have them quite bejeedy looking and raggedy ends. And then some people like to have them quite formed.
Okay, there you go.
And you can actually make it nice and tight. And then what you do is then you light it and you will sage around.
Do we have a lighter?
I don't have a lighter.
Ah, no.
We can use this.
Yeah, pretend. Now, you were
So
saying
you still do it like the same.
Yes,
so in your room.
exactly the same
So
thing.
with St. John's wort, say if I'm going home today.
Yes.
And I start doing this around my house.
Yes.
What's that going to?
So
What's that bringing?
So that is, it's actually
You're
a
there.
lovely one for people who might be suffering with anxiety or depression. It's one that actually brings really nice calming energy into your life.
Calming energy.
Yes. Yeah. I like to think of this kind of a process not as let's push out all the negativity, but more so let's bring in all some nice things.
I love that.
So
I see people do these online all the time, and they're like this. But how long? Like you light it?
It'll go out. The flame will burn off very, very quickly, and it'll just start to smoulder. And it's that smoke, and then it'll actually start to put itself out quite quickly.
Okay.
It's not something
you have
that's
to keep
going to
relighting it then?
you
Well, you can keep using it.
Yeah, you can keep, like, one of these will last you for a hell of a long time. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to use it for your energy. And then, like, I have my little cauldron that I will end up putting it out in.
Oh.
Okay. Now, you've
And-
cauldron and you were mentioning witchy. You love the witchy.
That's my
'cause you-
witchy one, yeah.
You are a witch.
Yes, I'm a green witch.
So tell me the difference between
White witch.
a white witch, a black
green
witch, a green witch.
Well, the black witches tend to be the ones that Disney made up about us. So we
Okay.
tend to have warts on our noses and
Right.
black cats. I have a black dog, though. But a green witch is somebody who works with nature. So it's not necessarily someone who casts a lot of spells, but it's somebody who just listens to nature. That's what informs me in my life. And that's something that I go to depending on my mood. If I really, really delved into this whole part of my life after I lost my dad. So actually being able to connect with nature was something that helped me through grief. So that's where this has actually come from for me. I've always been a nature nut, but to be able to actually connect with nature has helped to calm me and heal me with my grief.
That is
Are you
so beautiful.
part of a coven?
Yes, I
Are
am
you?
part of a coven, yes. So for most of the year, I'm a solitary green witch, so I tend to do my nice little practices. And I come in here every month and I talk about the lovely things that I'm doing. That's a whole form of green witchcraft. So all these lovely things helping people heal with plants. But with my coven now, the Samhain, this is basically our biggest celebration of the year.
Yes.
So I am heading over to Sligo and I will be having a lovely little ceremony in the forest with flames and calling corners and welcoming in the new season, because these things, people think of witches in forests lighting fires and think it's something very malevolent. It's actually not. It's thanking for the harvest that we've just had.
It's that Shakespearean idea of it with the tub of bubble boiling.
Exactly. It's a much more beautiful process.
But did you, because I think it's interesting with the coven, how do you find your coven?
So actually, while I was studying herbalism, the ladies and the gentleman who taught me over in the herbalist apothecary over in Sligo, we literally just found this fantastic bond together. And it just so happened we all came from north, south, east and west, and that automatically formed these these corners.
The common phrase.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm actually going to give it a try today. I'm going to take one home and I'm going to light it and go around the house. Do you say anything as you're doing it?
Oh, I would always say, welcoming in goodness into my life.
Well, here's the goodness we're welcoming in here. We're welcoming the goodness.
What a shower of absolute witches.
Forager Phoebe, thank you so much.
Find out more online. People can
Forager.ie on Instagram and our website.
That's all from us today. Coming up, get ready for a morning of creepy Halloween content tomorrow morning.
Yes, that's right. We've got spooky science experiments, ghoulish games, and some very scary costumes.
All that plus the news, sport, and weather you're waking up to. John, Joy, you're over here. Hi. Joy's live from 7. Back on tomorrow. Have a lovely Wednesday.
Bye.